Okay, good evening everyone. So today we will see about the final project in Turtle Graphics module. So it's like a Turtle Crossing uh, game. You can like Turtle Crossing Capstone project we call it as. So Capstone is nothing but the final project in that module. If someone so it's like the game. For example, the turtle should cross the obstacles, and it will be something like this. So if you imagine those are the cars, we need to cross to the next the screen. So I'm just typing like up arrow. So once we reach the level 2, the speed of the car should increase. So and we need to create this cars randomly. Now again the speed of the cars increasing. So whenever we hit the car, so it should the game should end. So So now we have at 4 levels. When we hit the game should end. So so let's go into deep. So here the game rules. So a turtle moves forward when you press up key, like up arrow key. It can only move forward. So there is no other way. You can't go backward, back, left or right. Only it's works only in one direction. And then cars are randomly generated along y-axis and will move from uh, edge from right edge to left edge. You can change this if you want to from left edge to right edge also we can do. For generally the rules is like from left right to left. So when turtle hit the top of the screen, it's moved back to original position where we keep the turtle and the player levels up. On the next level, we should increase the car speeds. When the turtle collides, it's game over and everything stops. So it's like these are the steps. Generally, we represent in graphical presentation of steps. So it's like move the turtle with the click process, and then we create and move the cars. So it's like detect the collision and detect when turtle reaches the outside. And so these are the breakdown of steps. So let's do one by one. So we will be creating a folder, and then we will be creating 4 files. So generally the main.py file is our main file which we run. So in that, generally by default we need to create a screen. So by 600 by 600 pixels. So now for example let me comment all this out. Comment. So what we did, we have created, for example, this is the time module, and we are from turtle module we are importing the screen. So this is the first step in any gaming uh, program. So we will be creating a screen and we will be setting up the size, and we are turning off the animation, and then for every refreshment rate is at 0.1, and then we are updating the screen manually. And it's like when our user clicks on exit on click, then only the screen will disappear, otherwise it will be on. So when I run again, so here we are not setting the color to black what we have did in Python before games like Snake game or Pong game. So we have created the screen whatever we require desired size, and we are just keeping this. So now what we do, we need to create a turtle player that starts at the bottom of the screen, and it should listen and should move towards So now what we will be doing, so we will be creating another class, layer class. So and we are inheriting it from the title class. So we are importing from title module, we are importing title class, and then we are actually inheriting the player class from the title class, and then we are initializing the constructor method. So here we are calling super so that we can use all the attributes or all the methods whatever we define in the title class directly instead of creating another title object. So now we are defining the shape as title. So before it used to be, if we don't give it, it used to be arrow, and then we are just lifting the pen up and we are defining another method. So set heading. So now we need to, this is already we have seen. So the generally by default our title will face towards east like 0 degrees. So we need to move towards 90 degrees. That's why we are doing here. And we are actually defining another method. We are calling this method. So go to starting position. So we are giving the starting position at like the screen. If you divide the screen 300 by 300 pixels, so it's like on the y-axis at x equal to 0 position, and it should start at minus 280 degrees, just 20 pixels above uh, the like horizontal window line or the max distance of the y-axis, like 300 pixels generally. So we are actually dividing to minus 280 pixels. So if we just if we comment this out, log comment, log comment, so this will we will do next. So now just we are defined constructor method, and we are defined another one more method where it is like we are just saying go to position. So and we are defining this as a like a constant. So this value won't change. That's why we are defined in the capital letters. Now we will be creating one player object. So player equal to player. Now what it does. So when I run, sorry, command. Now we have given we have created title object, and it's like and we have facing it towards the north 90 degrees we have rotated. So now we haven't defined, like I am pressing the up arrow but it is not moving. So now what we need to do, the next step is like we need to define another method so so that it will move. So now what I am defining a method. So go up. So generally we, as per the game rules, we need to define only one only towards, it should go towards north direction only. So only up towards up direction, it should not go back or left or right. So that's why we are defining only go up method. And in the go up method, so we need to call this go up method for the object, right? So but the screen should listen to the key presses. So the screen is listening, and on the screen, on which key, when we press which key, like when we press the up key, we are calling the object, the player object method, go up method, so that what it does, it will move forward to a distance of 10 pixels. So this is again it's depending on our trial and error method. So you can change this distance, how to move, how many pixels to move when we press test stroke, one stroke. So if you give 20, it will move very fast. Like for example, if I give 20, mm, I think I haven't saved my .py. So it is moving very fast. It's by giving 20 pixels to move. It is very moving very fast. So yeah, it's a depend again depending on our requirements or depending on our choice, we can define it. So as of now, we are defining only 10 pixels to move forward. So it is working fine. So we have come up with this step. So when we uh, press key, like when we press the up key, our turtle is moving. Now we will be creating cars that are actually 20 by 40 pixels wide and that are randomly generated across y-axis. So and it's like no car should be like it's like from the above. Oh, like there are 300 pixels, right? So it's like from the above 300 minus 50 is like 250, above 250 and below minus 250. The car should not be generated. So they have given like how to generate and how to generate a car only once every 6 times when the game loop runs. So it's like we will be creating another car manager.py and we are giving different colors like red, orange, yellow, green, blue. We can increase these colors also like depending on the color sheets we have. So it's like again we are creating turtle and now we are creating a class manager. Now what we are doing, we are not inheriting, if you carefully observe, we are not inheriting here. Now just we are defining all cars and just we are defining how at which uh, pace the distance should move. We are defining it's in a variables like constant variables. So now what we do, just if we now we are creating create a car. So create a car is like turtle object we are creating. If we first let's just comment this out. Now for example just I am, so now new car is equal to turtle, so we are creating a new car object like using turtle class. So and we are defining a square. Similarly new car is like shape, we are stretching the width, so we are not stretching any width, so we are just stretching the length, so it's like 40 pixels. So now we are not we don't want, when we are moving we don't want to see the line, so that's why we are uh, doing the pen up method. And then now the color of the car is like we are actually randomly choose the colors, so we are using random module what we already used. So random dot choice is the method and we can select from this colors, so we can increase the colors also depending on our choice. Now generally the random, so at which where the title object should create, we are again using the random and random integer. So because we should not create top above 50 pixels and bottom below 50 pixels, so we are choosing the random y coordinate from minus 250 to 250. And now what we are doing, we are checking like car to go to 300. So by so it's like it will be created at because 0 to 300 and 0 to minus 300, right? So it's like 600 by 600. So the extreme end it will create. And now just we are appending whatever the cars created inside the list. Now what we are doing, we are defining another method, move cars. So we need to move the cars, right? So it's like we are looping over all the cars whatever created inside this list, and we are doing backward. So generally we have used forward till now. Backward is nothing but again it will move in the opposite direction. So it's like we are creating at a right edge. So that's why we will be using backward method. But if you are creating at left edge, so it's like if we give minus 100, you can use directly uh, uh, the forward method. So let's see both the examples. And here we haven't given this, carefully observe. So if we haven't given this, how the loop will execute. So now we need to come back here and we need to create a car manager class, like car manager object, sorry, from a car manager class, and we are calling every time the loop runs we are creating a car, and we are just calling the car manager like move cars. So it's like it will create a car every time the loop runs for 0 0.1 seconds, and let's see how it is doing. So it is creating multiple cars. So it's very difficult if we just go. As of now, we have not defined any collisions. But if we create like this, it's very difficult, right? It is very difficult to our turtle to cross the other edge, because what it is doing, it is creating very fastly. Like it is creating for every loop. It is creating the turtle objects very randomly. So, but we need to create at certain pace. So before that, what we will do, for example, we will change this to minus 300 and we will call it as r dot. Now we are using car dot forward method. So now what it will do the same thing, but the cars will come from left to right. And it's very difficult to move the if we create it like this. So here they have given like hint. So create generate a car for every sixth time the game loop runs. So for every sixth time. So it's like the probability we will be using. So it's like whenever we throw dice for 6 times. For example, we are creating a random chance. So we are throwing a dice. So from 1 to 6, whenever like 1 comes, then we need to create a car. Otherwise, we won't be doing anything. So it's like we are giving a condition here. So if you carefully observe now, so it's like the probability of getting 1 is 1 by 6. So out of 6 times, the probability is 1 time. So we have used the probability or like using the random integer. So it's not like only 1 by 1. It's like every 6 rolls it comes 1. It might be less than 6 or it might be more than 6 times as well. But we are actually defining it's a chance equal to 1. You can give any number like 6 or 2, anything. Any number is fine. Just we have given only 1. Now when I run this again, now the cars are creating little bit slow. last. Okay. Now just I am again commenting this out. So depends on our choice. So so now just I am bringing it to right to left. 300. Now what we will be doing, detect the turtle when player correct with the car and stop the game if this happens. Now if I come back to main.py, now generally what we do, we whenever the distance we have already used distance method whenever a object is very near, like less than 20 pixels, we are using distance method to detect there is a collision or not. So similarly we will be doing like, we will be checking for every car because we are creating a loop. How many loops we don't know, uh, because we are it will create until the the cars will created until this loops runs. So we are what we are doing for car in car dot manager the object, and we are calling all cars list. So if you see again, this is the all cars what we are defined as empty list, but we are adding appending each car every time the loop runs into that. And what we are doing, we are again calling back. So now we are checking if the distance is for each car less than 20, then we are detecting as false. So let's comment this out. The scoreboard will come next. So we will be stopping the game. So now, sorry. Issue line 4 from car manager. Car manager. Okay, here somewhere. Sorry, there is somehow the input statement got switched. So now, so whenever I hit a car, the loop got stopped. So it's like, yeah, now we have achieved. So the detection of collision with the car we have achieved, and we have stopped the game loop. Now the last few. So now what we need to do, we need to detect when the player reaches the finish line, the turtle should return to starting position and increase the speed, and think about creating attribute using move increment speed. So again, so when we reach, so we need to detect how where the player the reached the extreme end. So the similar kind of stuff we will be doing. So we will be writing another method. So now def is at finish line. So it's like we are checking whether our turtle object has uh, gone to the finish line. So finish line is like 280 pixels. So again, if you define 0 to 300. So whenever our turtle object hits at 280, greater than 280, it's like it has crossed the finish line. So we are just checking the y coordinate and we are just returning the boolean values. So it's like we are returning true whenever this statement executed is true, and else we are returning false. So every time this will run, so we need to check this method as well. So what we will be doing. So now what we will do, we will just call if it is a finish line. So this this method will be evaluated true whenever, because we are calling this method, so it will call internally this method and it will check the coordinate by coordinate of the turtle where it is and check whether this condition is satisfied. When this condition trues, then it will go to start position. So it's like we need to go to the start position, starting position we need to go. So that's why we are calling go to start method. Now let's comment this out. And then again we need to do one thing, we need to update the speed, because every time we increase the level, so the car speed should increase. So that's why what we are doing, we are calling another level up function. So now what it will be doing, it will just we are increasing car speed. So by default it is at 5 pixels. Now by incrementing 10 it will become 10, like 15 incrementing. Uh, so it's again depending on our choice. If we increment 20, it will be very fast, or if we increment by 2 pixels or 5 pixels, and again it's a little bit easy, and it's again depending on our choice. So if I go back to mine, so if you see, whenever I finish that, I am saying my player to the title object of the player object should go to start position, like what whenever we start it's like 0 comma minus 280, and then we are increasing the speed, so that again when the loop runs, when this all this got executed true, then whenever the loop runs, whenever it create a car and it create a move car, the speed at which this will be called self dot car speed, it will be at 10 pixels. So every time I hit the next object, like I hit uh, uh, our target, like the vertical horizontal wall, when we reach the horizontal wall, the speed of the cars will increase. So if you see, uh, let's see how much speed. I'm just giving 20 so that it will be very fast whenever we. Okay, so just I'm checking whether I am saving all that or not, because I haven't uncommented. Okay, now I have. So here it is very slow. It is running very fast because I have given 20. 20 plus 5 is like 25 pixels. Now it will be very fast again. Yeah. So depending on the loops, it will the increment will goes on. So now uh, our main the agenda is achieved, but the final steps are left. So we need to display the level, and whenever our object hit the car, we need to display as game over. So now this is the main last thing what we are remaining. So it's like if we go to scoreboard again, we are creating a scoreboard class, and then we are creating a inheriting it from title class, and then we are saying it level. So we are defining a level of uh, like instance variable equal to 1. Now just we don't want any title to be displayed, so any object, the title object, so we are hiding up, and we don't want any drawing to be drawn, so we are doing pen up, and we actually want that at some left corner, top left corner, so we are displaying it minus 280 and 250. So it's again depends on, we can display 260 or 280 by 280, and again if you give 300 by 300 also, that's fine, but it's will be very uh, uh, like the half of the whatever we write, it will be cut off. So that's why we are giving it at least 20 pixels distance from the topmost wall. And then here what exactly we are doing, we are just calling update scoreboard method, so where exactly the right function we have already written like in the previous games level, and we are using a strings, so self dot level, so whenever we start the game it will be at level 1. uh, the, I will change to 10. So align left, so we are instead of aligning center, we are aligning left, and font is like here the font, so we can again, so now every time the user reaches the final thing, we need to increment the level. So every time the user we will be incrementing the level, and we will updating the scoreboard also. We are calling this clear method so that it won't be overwritten the right functions, like it's 0 is overwritten on 1, like 1 is overwritten on 2, like that. And here the final thing, when we hit the car, we should write game over, so we need to write at the center itself. So we are giving 0 comma 0 and write game over, so align center, the font is again the Courier 24, so it can be changed depending on our requirement or depending on our customizations. Now I will be creating a scoreboard object from the scoreboard class. Now in the same, when we hit the detect collision, we are calling the game over method. Similarly, when we are hitting the crossing, like the horizontal wall, whatever we define the criteria, then we are increasing the level. So we are calling two methods. So by default, it will call all these methods. So whenever we create an object, by default, it the I mean to say the title object will call all these constructor methods, so that it will call the default update score method also. That's why we will get level 1 at that. So now, and we run. So if you see, there is a level 1. So I have passed level. So now if you see, level 2 got increased. have reached level 3 also. And and if you see there is even if I colliding, it's not getting game over uh, because we are using for loop for that. So every time, so it takes at least a few seconds, not few seconds, few nanoseconds to process. So here it's not uh, exactly hitting, but because it's already had hit the before, if you see, so it has took some time to process. That's why uh, it it takes some time to get our code to over. So it's not uh, the scale of application. I meant to say it's not a production ready code, but it's for our learning purpose. It's very useful code. So yeah. So to check the our how much criteria, how much time it will take, like how much we can write in multiple ways. Either you can use multiprocessing also to check how many cards are created and how to check whether all the cards hitting at same time. So there are multiple logics you can work on. As of now, this is our game. As of now, for normal playing, it will be work perfectly fine. There's no doubt, and you can increase all the uh, levels or all the speeds depending on our requirements. And as of now, we are moving at 10 pixels. The turtle you can move at 15 pixels or 20 pixels, again depending on our choice. As of now, we are giving random int equal to probability of equal to 1, right? That also you can change to any some other logic. It's all depending. So for example, you can loop over 1 to 6, and if we 6 only, then only we need to create a cover. So while I equal to 6 I plus plus something like that, we you can write. Yeah. So so, so it's very multiple ways, but we will be mainly focusing on how we are creating objects and how we are writing and how to break down into steps and how to initialize the screens and what are the requirements. Depending on the requirements, how we will be doing all this. So these are the portfolio projects. All these are Turtle Graphics portfolio projects for any beginner levels. So yeah, that's it for Turtle Graphics module, and it's uh, done for today.